Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. It's what, 9/11, 22 years ago. I will never forget. Anyways, hope everybody Monday has started out well and looking forward to a good week. We are going to try and go through this multifamily issue training. It might be familiar to some. If there are any new people out there, hey, welcome. And I hope this 2 day, 3 days session and 2 hours for today, you'll be when you finish, you'll walk away with something. Oh, I didn't know that I know now. So hope it will be a good training for you. As Michelle had mentioned earlier, today we are going through like the path of a pool, the prerequisite of pooling, and just to give you an idea what you actually need before you set up to start doing your pools using MFPDM. So that's our process for today. We have path of a pool, process, issuance, and delivery diagram. We're going to talk about final certification, and we're going to also do some knowledge check just to try and reinforce certain aspects of the process. Okay, the first thing is about pool submission, processing, issuance, and delivery diagram. Of course, most of you know that you submit your pools, the custodian certifies, and of course, BNY Mellon has to do the download and do their due diligence to meet our requirement with Ginnie. So this is just a diagram, just to give you an idea what happens in that space. Pool requirement. Issuers must be enrolled in GennyNet / and GMEP. We should have GMEP there via MGM. That's correct, but we should also have MFPDM there. To submit pools, issuers must have available pool number, sufficient commitment authority, and approved master agreements. And those things we're going to go in a little bit later. Issuer submits pool through MFPDM and GennyNet. The document custodian certifies the pool. And of course, GennyNet network sweeps at 2 p.m. and at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to all the pools that are certified. So you do your piece, you and the custodian submit, custodian certifies. Once that's done, BNY Mellon will do the rest. Pool files are reevaluated, not because you get those past edits through MFPDM and GennyNet. We have to do another check on our end just to make sure everything is okay. So pool new files are processed. System, again, they're reevaluated on the MPPS systems. That's the GenMay system IPMS. New issuer file with QSIP numbers is transmitted to the Fed. We do that. Once that's done and everything is okay there, pools are approved for pool issuance. So what that means, I'm sure sometime you might have called to Janet area and maybe you want to collapse a pool or have us to delete a pool, and we tell you that it's too late because we've released the information to the Fed. We do a daily release at 4 p.m. So everything that comes in for the 2 p.m. sweep and then also for the 9 p.m. sweep the previous day, all that pool is released to the Fed by 4 p.m. Pool delivery file created for pool settlements. And of course, all that information is stored in the central registry. That's the GenMay system that holds all that necessary information. And just another thing on this, although we release those pools to the Fed, that does not mean that the pools will be settled the next business day. The Fed will hold those pools until your settlement date. So if you have a settlement date of the 20th, the 21st, that's when those pools will be delivered. We're not gonna, because we released today, we're gonna have your securities out there for delivery on that day because that was not your arrangement with your investor. Because if the Fed sends off the stuff today, there's a possibility that's gonna come back saying, DK, do not know, because at that time, the issuer or the investors weren't looking for the securities on the 20th. So we're going to hold it to the delivery date, which you specify on that your 11705 form. Okay, just to go in a little bit more about the path of the pool. GenNet network is swept twice each business day for processing and issuance of pools, final certified by the document custodian. Of course, we talk about the 2 p.m. sweep. Anything that happens at 2 p.m. and we only look out for pools that are marked certified. If we download those pools, will be considered a one-day processing and may be delivered for settlement the next business day. We're going to do that because of our obligation to Ginnie Mae. And as mentioned before, that not necessarily that your pool will be delivered the next day. It's going to deliver to the day that is specified on your 11705. But for our obligation, we have to meet that. Then we have the 9 p.m. sweep. Pool certified after 2 p.m., but before 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do the same. Those will be considered 2-day processing and may be delivered for settlement in 2 business days, or, of course, the delivery date specified on your 11705. Of course, you've actually submitted. Pools have been certified. But doing your due diligence, your final check, you found out some things are not correct and you need to make some changes. But there are 2 ways. You can contact the Ginnie Mae customer support at the number, and you can also, we'll inform you that you can when you can delete those pools. The first thing, let's go over, issuers have until 12 noon to perform order delete on GenNet or recall on MFPDM. To make distinction there, on GenNet, it's still you delete from the network. In the MFPDM space, we call that recall if you're a new person to that application. After 12 noon and before 4 p.m., issuers must contact Ginnie Mae customer service at 833 Ginnie Mae help for assistance when deleting pool. So you, like for now, you found out there's an issue. You have the ability to delete up until 12 noon today, Eastern Time. So you can go in and delete the pool. What's going to happen once the pool is deleted, it's going to have a status. If it's MFPDM, it's going to say draft. On if it's GenNet, it's going to say delete. It allows you to go in and edit, make your changes, apply your edits again, and resubmit. But what I want to just let you know, most of the time, you might want to tell your custodian, because you could have deleted that pool again after it's certified, and your custodian might not be aware. So you want to open up the line of communication there and say, oh, I had to make some changes to this pool, so it's going to come again for certification. Because we have seen over the years, people have actually deleted a pool, the custodian was not informed again, and what happens? That pool is sitting out there in the network, and of course, the custodian did not certify it, so you miss your settlement date. So you just want to keep up those lines of communication if you have to go through anything like this. Delete a pool by 12 noon. Now, if it's past 12 noon and you still need to delete a pool, we usually get in touch with us. We're going to ask you to send us a request via email. Once you send us that request saying you want to delete pool such and such, I know on the new pool processing side, they like the pool number, the settlement date, and also the OAA amount. So it works best for them that way. So once we go in and delete that pool, because we have to make 2 deletes. We have to do a delete if it's in the MFPDM space, a GenNet space, and then we have to delete on the mainframe. That's the new pool processing system. That's where the final data is held. So we have to do some deletion. Once those deletions are done, we'll send you an email saying pool is deleted and you can go in and make your changes, apply your edits, and resubmit it again. And again, just want to let your custodian know that a new file is out there and they would need to go out there and certify that pool again. You don't want anything to be just hanging out there and you're going to miss your settlement date, because you have obligations also on your end. You tell this investor that I'm going to have this pool settled by such and such date, and you don't want to be late because there could be penalties because you miss your deadline. So just want to tell you so. The sweeps, 2 p.m., first sweep, second sweep, 9 p.m. We only sweep pools that have status mark certified. And then if the pools are certified, you have 12 noon to delete them on your own. After 12 noon, it becomes you sending us an email to request delete, and we'll delete it, and then you can go in and do your due diligence and resubmit those pools. Okay, just a quick knowledge check some of the things that we just talked about. If I want to check the status of a pool, who can I call? You're going to call the GenMay Customer Support Group and 1-833 GenMay Help, and we can tell you. But now in MFPDM space, you have the ability to actually check on your own, because you can see right up on MFPDM, there's this that we call it Skittles, and you'll see different statuses of pools. So now you have that ability to go in and check the status of your pool there. GennieNet World, that's not there, and people are still trying to finish up their draws and stuff in GennieNet. All initial pools now must be done via MFPDM anyway, but if you still have GennieNet pools because you're doing the final draws to those pools, you're not going to see the full status. The last status you'll see there is certified. But in the MFPDM space, you can see if the pool is actually certified by the custodian and if it was actually issued. So that's the new thing now in the MFPDM space that I think make it a little bit more intuitive and more efficient for the issuers. Now you don't have to give us that extra calls to find out if my pool was issued, because you can check the status on there. When can I recall or delete the certified pool? Pools that are certified after 2 p.m. can be deleted up to 12 noon Eastern Standard. Pools that are certified after 2 p.m. can be deleted up to 12 noon the next business day. And if I miss the window for recall, what can I do? You need to call us. And of course, we're going to ask you to send us an email with the information so we can delete that pool for you. Okay, prerequisite for pooling. Of course, there's certain things you have to have in place before you can actually do your pools. So we're just going to go through a couple. We have the enroll for MGM, that's My GennieMay. Request for secure token. We're going to introduction to the My GennieMay portal. And we're going to talk a little bit about master agreement, commitment management, request pool numbers. Those are some things we think are the major things to have in place to get you onto actually setting up your pools. Of course, introduction to MGM. Of course, everybody knows what is it? MGM 2018, 19. That's the gateway now. That's how you actually log into GennieMay's system to do any kind of work now. That's where everything is now housed. It's a single gateway to all GennieMay system, application, and resources that boosts efficiency in the business partners. That's all you use now to log in. The portal provides enhanced security and a single entry point to all approved applications for individual users, as well as a seamless user registration access request process for both the user and the approving authority. Now, of course, single sign-on, big deal. Yes, you don't have to you don't have to know a password for GennieNet. You don't have to know a password for MEMS. It's just a one thing now. Once you sign in with your user ID, which is most likely your email address, that's good. You go in there, then you have the different elements now. Then you can go in and choose whatever you're going to do. If you're going to do GennieNet, just select GennieNet. If you're going to do MFPDM, you'll select MFPDM. My GennieMay will eventually replace GMEP 1.0 and serve as a primary platform. I think right now we're almost there. So everything now happens in that MGM space. Extending operation technology capability to GennieMay's community. My GennieMay delivers security features with GennieMay established. which GenMake establishes. Then, of course, you have the browser, Firefox, Chrome, and Edge that you can log into depending on which one works best in your space, in your environment, in your office. So those are Firefox, Chrome, and Edge. And of course, you log in with your user ID, but you have to be registered first. We also want to provide you, once we go through this process, access my GenMay at https://my.genmay.gov using any of these web browsers, of course. My GenMay Organization Administrator Guide. You want to make sure, especially if you're not just a user, but you have dual role. You're provided as an org admin. GenMay is very strict on that org admin thing now. You need to have at least a certain amount of org admin. So you want to get used to the user manual itself and see what if you're designated that new title or responsibility, what your responsibilities are. So everything is now in my GenMay. One-time sign-on. User ID is usually your email address. Once you sign in, you have access to all the GenMay application, the ones that you're going to use in your environment and for your workday to get your tasks done. Okay, we talk about roles and responsibility. Since we have been using my GenMay, we have actually separated some roles and responsibility in the process. We think there are mainly three main groups. We have the operation administrator, that is my team. We act on behalf of GenMay, the general oversight of the portal. We can actually do final acknowledgement of any access requests, and we cannot make any changes to the end user's account. The function is provided by BNY Mellon, which is us, on behalf of GenMay, and serve as the super admin over the entire system. So we're responsible. If someone sends in a request for an org admin, we are responsible to make sure everything goes well there. We do our due diligence. Org admin for GenMay has to be in the company's 11702. So we check that. Make sure Wade Gale, Wade Jones is on the 11702 before. We actually send out an invite. We send out an invite to that person. Person will go in, respond to the invite, and add the available information that's needed. Once that comes back to us and we check and everything is okay, we'll go in and add that person in as a org admin. Org admin means you have special privilege roles that will give you so you can perform those functions in your shop as an org admin. It's a possibility org admin, you're also a user. So that part you can take care of on your own with your other org admin. But we set up the org admins, we give them privilege roles. So those are roles that will enable them to manage their users in their shop. So that's the org operation admin. That's BNY Mellon team. Per GenMay, we act as get that responsibility. Then you have the org administrators. That's the people who are designated with that title. Org admin have the privilege to invite end users to register for a portal account, approve users' registration, initiate access requests via functional role assignment to users, and approve the access requests within a single organization. So we want to make, and part of it too, GenMay wants to make sure users are just given the roles that they need and just that. If you're just doing pool processing and you just need GenNet and MFPDM, you get that alone. You don't have to get RFS, you don't have to get MAGs, you don't have to get all those things. It can be customized to the user. So if this is your function, that's all you get and that's all you see. Note, and this is very important because GenMay does get notification when there's not enough org admins. Separation of duty within the registration and access request workflow doesn't allow the org admin to initiate a registration and approve that same registration, nor request access via functional role assignment and approve that same access request. So if you do the request, you cannot go in and prove it. That's why you need that second org admin in your organization. And per Jen May said a minimum of 3. So you need to have at least 3 org admins to perform that function. 3. So we have something that checks that if by some chance we notice when the system runs its job and there are 2, you're going to get a notification that you're falling behind in your 3 org admins. And you might get a call from us, you might also get a call from your AE, say, hey, Wade, we're showing that you have 2. Did Johnny leave the company? But guess what? Johnny might not have left, but Johnny has not signed in. So we usually encourage org admins. Maybe you're just as a backup org admin, but we encourage you to just sign in once a week just to keep your ID functional. Because after 90 days, that ID will expire, and once that expiration happens, also your functional roles and your privilege role will go missing. So you just want to keep your login active, so you don't have to go through that process and have to go through setting up either a new org admin or you have to re-request those roles again. So you need a minimum of 3 org admin and it is recommended to have more than the minimum for as an organizational perspective. That's up to you. But we don't want you to drop to 2, 1. You want to keep the minimum of 3, because that's the Ginnie Mae's requirement now. That's for the org admin. So those are some of your responsibility. You recognize who the end users are. You're going to need to send the end users their invites. End users are going to fill in the form, send it back. Once that's done, we're going to go through the process of approving and then add the functional roles. And then you go through the process of approving those functional roles. Once that functional role is done, then there's one more step. That comes to us, so we have to do the final approval on that. So it's a three deal step. The next one, of course, the end users. Those I usually call the worker bees. Those are the ones who have all those roles, the functional roles, so they can get those daily tasks done. If it's RFS, if it's MFPDM, if it's just MAMS, commitment authority, request pool numbers, you're going to have those functional roles or in those applications that allows you to go in and do those functions. Each end users are the various type of Ginnie Mae employees, business partner, and contractors who require access to the business application and information within the portal, including various self-service functions. So you're going to get those roles. You're going to log in, set up your user ID, and go ahead and do your work. And remember, it's just one sign in now. You don't have to know what's the GennyNet password anymore. I'm sure that the ones who are used to this now for the last 3.5, almost 4 years, know that to me that's more efficient when you just log in with one password and you can go to the application that you need and proceed to do your work. Just a couple of things here. End users. If you have issues with user login, you want to report that to your org admin, because per Ginnie Mae in our world at BNY Mellon in a customer service space, we are only supposed to reset passwords for org admin. And of course, on your end users, org admin, if you forget your password, there's a forget password link there. You can click on that and then go through the process of doing the self-service change. And those are some of the things that we're trying to encourage people to actually use. The self-service, if you forget your password, you can go through there and go through the process of trying to set up a new password. So end users, we don't usually entertain with a call, because my team usually say, you might need to reach out to your org admin to reset you. Or we also tell you, you have the ability to reset your own ID on the system. That's part of the self-service process. Okay, Let's just talk about some of the roles, especially some the ones who are coming on for the first time. We mentioned that org admin give you those functional roles. Those functional roles are the ones that you'll be using to have access to Ginnie, have access to MFPDM, so you can perform your daily function. And users are provided access based on their business activity, which are organized in a meaningful access profile called functional roles. Use of functional roles ensure users have an appropriate level of access in relation to their job function responsibility. Yes, we just want to give you what you need, not everything that's there. Enforces the least privilege principle and make the account provisioning, deprovisioning action easier for org admin. These roles are grouped and vary by type, single family, multifamily, income. Just to give you an example of a couple that we have here. We have single family loan delivery. I don't know why we don't have MF there, but it's the same thing. We have MF investor reporting basic user and MF investor reporting authorized signer, just to let you know that. If you're a basic user, if that's what you've been designated, those roles, basic user, that means you go in, you process, you do the edits, but you cannot submit because you're not on the company's 11702. You are not an authorized signer. You don't have a soft token. So you won't be able to submit if you're a basic user. An authorized signer now, that's the one with the 11702 designation. They also have a soft token. They can do the submission. And one thing with org admins, when you're dividing these roles, if someone is not an org admin, if someone is an authorized signer, you do not need to give them the basic user roles again. Just want to let you know that that's just cluttering their screen. If they don't need that, no, because you're the authorized signer, the basic user. Authorized signer has the same roles and a little bit more than the basic user. So if you're a basic user, you'll get a basic user role. You don't need to get an authorized signer role, and vice versa. If you're an authorized signer, you don't need to get the basic role. It covers everything in that authorized signer role. And of course, you'll give roles according to what the person's responsibility is. So we just have some other selection here on the screen just to tell you what they are. And we'll suggest you go into MyGenMay end user guide and check those out, especially if you're new and you're not familiar with the how to assign roles. And again, that's why we're there. If you're not clear on anything, don't hesitate to reach out. But we also provide the tools. There's a lot of tools out there. That's QRCs. There's a user manual that we try to make sure you have enough information so you can actually do those functions. Okay, prerequisite for pooling, we're still on that. Introduction to MyGenMay portal, issue responsibility. Of course, you're going to enroll users on MyGenMay and MGM. So if you're new, you'll hear us refer to MyGenMay as also MGM. Portal with functional roles that allows user to upload master agreement 11702 identified authorized signer, Ginnie/MFPDM access, request sufficient commitment authority to guarantee MBS issuance, and of course, obtain pool number. And you do that and you have to have a soft token to go through the process of doing that. The soft token process have changed a little bit, so get familiar with that. We're not doing those hard token, those fobs that you usually use to do that. You have to get familiar with the soft token. I know last November, just right before we switch over to AWS, GenMay had gone through that campaign to get everybody on board. So make sure you get familiar with the soft token. That RSA fob that you have is not in use anymore. So make sure you get used to how to use that. And the RSA token quick reference guide, look into that if you're not sure. And you also can send questions to Ask GenMay so they can send it out to the appropriate people how to help on that. They have the Government National Mortgage Association System Access Form that if you're requesting an RSA token. And again, tokens are only given to people who are on the company's corporate resolution, the 11702. If you're not on the resolution, we will not issue you a token because that's part of our due diligence. We have to check if Wade Jones sent in a request to be an authorized signer. That's a check for us. If you're saying that you need to be a token holder, we're going to check the 11702. If Wade is not on the 11702, we're going to get back in touch with you and say, hey, you sent in a request, but Wade is not on the 11702. We aren't able to do that at the moment. But you might say, oh, Wade is going to get access very soon, but once you have Wade's name on that form and it's approved, you can always send a request back to us, and then we'll go through the process of getting one for the token and send it to the appropriate people so they can start their due diligence of getting that person set up. Toyid, please let me know if I'm not going over your slides.
No, Wade. This is perfect. Thank you. And good morning, everyone. My name
Toyid, it's all yours now.
All right. Thank you, Wade. And good morning, everyone. My name is Tawheed from the Bank of New York Mellon. I'm here with Wade today, and we will go over some additional slides. What you can see on the screen right now, we'll go over our My Ginnie Mae portal and how to log into the portal. So on your screen right now, this is our landing page for the My Ginnie Mae portal. After you open up your desired browser and you enter the myginniemay.gov link, you will see this page. And to access and log in, which at this point you should have credentials given to you by your org admin. You will be able to enter the username and password after clicking on login. And once you enter those, you can go ahead and click the login button. Once you're successfully able to log into My Ginnie Mae page, you will go on to the landing page that you see right here, which is our dashboard. Now, this dashboard is unique to you. The dashboard will be given views of multifamily pools, like you could see. We call these Skittles, and these are unique to you. So now, for example, a single family issuer would have a different view than you. Next. Okay. All right. So next we'll talk about accessing our Master's Agreement Management System, short for MAMS. And the way you would do this is by going onto the Tools dropdown on top right of the page. And this can be accessed throughout your My Ginnie Mae portal view. So if you're in, for example, Pools and Loan page, you're able to access the Tools dropdown. Or if you're on my dashboard, you'll have the same access. Now, once you click on the Tools dropdown, you will see there's a list of applications. Now, this access or the view that you're seeing on this dropdown will vary. It'll change depending on what kind of access you were given. So in our case, say you are a master's authorized signer, you can see the MAMS link under IPMS, which is highlighted in red. You will then click on that link, which will then take you to the master's agreement page. We have a little snippet below that you can see. Okay, so that was a quick instruction on how to get to the master's agreement page. I'll quickly hand it over to Wade just to explain the different forms and what they are and what they represent. So Wade, if you want to take over.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Toy. Okay, ma'ams, guess what? It's coming up soon. Renewals. So just the forms that you need to to, as part of the process that Ginnie says, will make you complete for part of pool processing. You have the Form 11, HUD 11702. That's the resolution of Board of Directors and certified certificate of authorized signers. Then you have the 11703-2. That's for multifamily you won't use. That's mostly for the HECM issuers, but it's just one of the forms here. Then you have the HUD 11707. That's the Master Subservicing Agreement. If you have any subscriber, you can do that. Sometimes you don't, so you don't need to check in on the subscriber boxes. 11709, the Master Agreement for Service of P&I Custodial Account. And I have 11709A, that's the P&I Custodial, that's the ACH debit authorization. And that form does not need a renewal, but that form, you can change it if you need to during the course of the year. We just want to make sure you change it enough time so your doesn't catch up with when you're making your payments and stuff. So you want to make sure you do that at a good time. You have the HUD 11715. That's the Master Custodial Agreement. That's the agreement form with you and the custodian you're going to use as part of your pool processing. And you have the HUD 11720. That's the escrow custodial account. And I know the multifamily team group issuers, that's a form that we get a lot of 11720 on a yearly basis when you're doing your master agreements. And of course, is this me or you? But I'll just continue. You want me to continue, right? And do maps? I'll just continue. The system itself tells you how to set up the pool, how to set up the MAMS form, and how to submit it. A little bit later, we're going to give you a quick demo of how to set up our 11702. So we just want to tell you about the guide. If you're not familiar with the guide, there's a Master Agreement Management System, MAMS guide. And again, if you're new to Ginnie Mae, welcome to the acronym world. You're going to hear us saying a lot of acronyms, but some of them you might recognize right away. Some of them might be new to you, but that's a part of the process here. You have to get to know some of these acronyms. And what we usually do, we have a user manual for MAMS. But if you're one of those people who need the information faster, quicker, in a much more snippet kind of way, we also have those quick reference cards. And a quick reference card might be the way to help you. It tells you how to create a form, how to print the agreements, how to upload or import the complete forms, how to search or view the form, and how to get that information to the submission center. So that's if you don't want to read all the user manual, we have those quick reference cards. So make use of them. We have in the presentation links so you can get to those cards. Now I see why Toyd wanted me to do MAMS, and I think it's because of this time. We are now in September. Guess what happens on October 1st? Master Agreement Renewals. Yes, October 1st. We're going to open our system for Master Agreement Renewals. What we're saying, or what you're saying to Ginnie Mae, is two things. We are acknowledging what we currently have on file for 2023. We will be using the same documentation for 2024. So we're going and we're acknowledging those forms. October 1st to December 31st. Very important to finish up this before December 31st. I always say this every year when we do this. Don't wait until the last week of December, the last week of the year. Guess what? People are not there. The authorized signers are on their vacation, on their Christmas holiday. And so you don't want to wait until December 31st to do your master agreement. So we give you enough time. I'm sure Michelle and team will have something to also say on this when it's time. So honor October 1st And if you're using the same accounts, then it makes it so easy to go in and just, hey, I'm acknowledging this. There's nothing that's changing for 2024. So I'm going in and I'm doing my master agreement acknowledgement and renewals right up front. The reason I'm saying this because I think the first month started in November is when we usually start sending notices to Jenny May about who have actually started their master agreement renewals and who have not. So we're giving Jenny May a heads up so they can actually, if they need to start calling these people and say, hey, Wade Mortgage Company, what's up? Why are you wasting so much time? Maybe you're saying Mary Jones, the authorized signer, is not in. So we have to, all the documents are ready to go, but she needs to do the signing. So try and meet those deadlines as soon as possible because you don't want starting January 1, 2024. You want to do pools and you did not get your master agreements renewal. And I know last year there were no, Genmay did not give any concession to actually open up the system to allow that. So you just want to make sure you fall in the guideline. There's enough notification out there, and I'm sure there's going to be notification out there on the portal too, telling users that renewals start on October 1st. October 1st to December 31st, at least 3 months to give you to go in and set up your master agreements. Important to start recertification process as early as October 1 to reduce year-end spike in volume. And that I said year-end spike in volume is that we're getting a rush on the customer service. My manager is not in. Do you know if GenMay is going to open up the system for January? Because we didn't get to do our master agreement. So try and tell the people who needs to sign, if you're not the one who signed, that we need to get this done and need to get this as soon as possible. If an issuer does not complete their recertification within the renewal period, they will not be eligible to issue Ginnie pools and will have to repeat the initial submission process. And that's the catch right there. If you did not do your renewals come January 1, January 3rd, you just cannot go in and say, I'm renewing again. No. That's not going to work. What happened? You'll have to go in and set up all your initial documentation again. Who wants to do that? When I should have just gone in and say, hey, Jenny, hey, BNY Mellon, I am just renewing these because nothing will change for 2024. But if you did not do it for 2024, you'll have to go in and set up your 11702, 11709, 11720, 11709A, 11707, 11715. You'd have to set those up all over again like you're doing it for the first time. So keep that in mind. So renewal start October 1. Renewal ends on December 31st. Michelle, any Ginnie people want to say anything at this point in reference to master agreements renewals?
Good morning. I had to unmute, and I need to probably increase my volume. No, you said it. Just reiterate. Not only if there's a problem, Michelle probably won't be in the office at the end of December either. So it's not just the people in your own organization. People at Ginnie Mae may not be in the office to assist you. And yes, you will receive several emails in the month of December reminding you. That's all, Wade.
Thank you, Michelle. So you see, even Michelle tells you already, don't look for me to be around on December 31st trying to help you in your master agreement because I'm out. So just use the time wisely and plan. If it's not your full responsibility and it's someone else, just send them the dates and you might have to do some follow-up just to make sure they're going to do this on time so we can meet your renewal time. You don't want to wait until the new year because you cannot do the renewals again unless Ginnie may do some exception to allow that. So master agreements again start October 1. The end date is December 31st. Okay, we're scheduled for a break. It's 10:58. Is it possible to come back at 10:05? We got 15 minutes. So when does that? Okay, we'll do the 15-minute break and then we'll come back and continue with the prerequisite of a pooling. So we'll come back at around 10, 10:13, 10:15, and then we can, no, I can't do math. How much is that? 8, 10:10. We'll come back at 10:10. Let's put it like that. We'll come back at 10:10. Okay? Thank you, everybody. Go out. You need to get some water. Just take some exercise, some walks, and come back. We'll see you in 10 minutes. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. I hope you guys were able to get some coffee because guess who is coming up? Toyd is coming up and you're going to need your coffee. I'm only joking. It's a joke. Toyd, welcome back, everybody. Toyd, it's all yours.
All right. Thank you, Wade. All right. Welcome back, everyone. So we're continuing with the prerequisites for pooling. We recently just went over master's agreement. Right now, we'll cover commitment management. And on the screen, as you can see, from any part of the screen, either your dashboard or if you're somewhere else in the portal, you will have access to the tools drop-down menu. And once you do, similar to MAMS, under IPMS, you have another link called CM, short for, again, commitment management. And you would click on that link, which will then take you to the commitment management page. So what is commitment, right? As an issuer, you must comply with Ginnie Mae's eligibility requirements and have sufficient commitment authority available to successfully issue a Ginnie Mae security. Commitment authority also allows an issuer, you, to issue up to an authorized dollar amount for securities and constitutes a commitment line base. The commitment management application replaces the manual submission of documents, submissions of fee via pay.gov, and provides an issuer with an automated methods to submit request to commitment authority, which can be done through the application now, right? Confirm the associated commitment fees, the proactively monitor their commitment authority balance and request the status, submit payment instructions for ACH debit of commitment fees, and request reports. Now, this is just very high level, but we'll go into the details on how to access the application and navigate through on our training videos that's coming up ahead. But this is just a quick view. Next, the issuer guide, right? We also have detailed steps where it'll guide you on how to submit the request, confirming the fees, how to monitor the commitment authority balance that you will have and how it trickles down as you start issuing out pools. Submit payment instructions, and again, we'll see where we enter our ACH information on the screen during submission of commitment request, and also commitment request reports. We do have the ability to look at those as well, and the issuer guide will explain in more detail. We also have quick reference guides that also explains in high-level steps on where to navigate to the screen for commitment request. All right, so that concludes for commitment. And next, again, for prerequisites of pooling, you will need pool numbers. We have an application called RPN, short for Request pool number. And again, the steps are the same. To access RPN application, you would go to your tools dropdown. Under IPMS, you have RPN, which you will click, and it'll take you to the RPN application. Okay, so request pool numbers. It's an application that Ginnie Mae issuers or you use to request pool numbers. It replaces the current paper form HUD 11700 letter of transmission for commitment authority and or pool number. In the request pool number application, you have the ability to perform the following procedures. You enter the request for pool numbers, and here you can enter a specific number of pool number that you need, which could be entered through the application. View available pool numbers that's already been approved and is assigned to you or your organization. There's a way to generate the report, and we'll see that on the demonstration, on the video, on how to access that report, where a Excel sheet is generated and a list of pools that are available to you is seen. Submit override request to Ginnie Mae account executives for additional pool number. So what does that mean? Say you have a set amount of or adequate amount of pool number assigned to you already, and for some reason you need additional than what you already have. The system or you will have to request a override from your account executives. They will have to approve it for you to get those additional pool numbers. And then view status reports. Again, there's reports associated with request pool number application that you can view and download those reports and receive real-time approval of request. So if your AE is approving or rejecting based on their decision, there will be a real-time update into the system when you go in, and you can see that. And we'll go over those in more detail in the video. Next, we have the QRC, or Quick Reference Guide, that guides you on steps to explain to you how to use the system. And on the QRC, you do have the summary screen, the request pool numbers, download number requests, view status of pool numbers, and run reports. So those are all explained on the QRC. Okay, some pre-pool submissions requirement. So you have to ensure that your assigned pool numbers, right? These are mandatory items for you to start pooling. So make sure you have adequate or new pool numbers assigned to you. Also make sure that you have enough commitment to issue out your securities. And finally, ensure that you are on the master's agreement, if you're the authorized signer, that you're on the 11702, and that your master's agreement package is completed. So all the forms that we went over, or the Wade that went over, you have to ensure that those are all completed and the package itself is in the complete status, so that you're able to proceed with pooling. Okay, so as I was speaking to the demonstration videos, here we will go over some of the recordings that we have done to kind of go into more details into these three applications. And I'll let the video play. Master's Agreement and how to submit. To access Master's Agreement forms, you will first log into my Ginnie Mae, and once you land on my dashboard, you will navigate over to the Tools dropdown on the top right of the page, and under IPMS, you will see a link for MAMS, short for Master's Agreement Management System. Once you find MAMS, you will go ahead and click on the link, and that will take you to the summary page of Master's Agreement. Once you land on Master's Agreement page, you have the ability to search forms based on the roles, the form numbers, the status of those forms, as well as the certification year. Below that, you have the ability to create HUD forms, and you have the ability to create 11702 11707, 11709, 11709A, 117115, and 11720. Below that, you will see a list of previously requested or submitted forms and their statuses, and it'll list out for all the certification years as well as the different forms. For today's demonstration purposes, we'll create the 11702 form, and by selecting the HUD 11702, we'll click on Go, and that'll take us to our 11702 form. First, you have the issuer's numbers and name auto-populated. Next, you have the board meeting place. So go ahead and enter the address of your board meeting place. Then enter the city, state, and zip code. Select your state and your zip code. Below that, you'll enter the board meeting date. Once you do that, below we have the certifying officer's detail. You'll go ahead and enter your secretary's name, your certifying officer's name, and your certifying officer's title. Below that, you have your institutional details. So go ahead and enter your address with your city, state, and zip code. Once you entered the data, you will then select your date. Below is the authorized signers section. Now here are a few things to note. First, you have the option to replace an existing authorized signer. What does this mean? If you already have authorized signers that's in the system and has been approved, you have the ability to delete them by selecting yes on for replacing existing authorized signer, and those approved authorized signers will be replaced with whatever you enter on this form below. And if you select no and you enter new authorized signers below, those will be added on with your existing authorized signer. So for today's purpose, we'll select no. And then underneath, we have two options. You can either enter the authorized signer manually by entering their first, middle, and last name with their title. Or you have the ability to download a CSV form and uploading the authorized signer's name by entering their first, middle, and last name with the title and importing that file. Today we'll enter the authorized signer manually. So we'll go ahead and put their first and last name with their title. Also note, if you have more than 3 authorized signer you need to enter into the system manually, you can add additional rows by clicking on plus add row. Once you have entered your authorized signer's information, you will then click on View as HUD PDF form. This will generate a PDF form with your authorized signer's name. So let's go ahead and click View as HUD PDF. Here you'll see the authorized signer's name. You will then scroll to the bottom, review your data, sign the form. And once you sign this form, you will then have to upload it back into this application. So let's go back to the form. Here you have the section where you can choose the file. And then go ahead and select the signed form, click open, and then upload document. All right, so the form has now uploaded. You can then save the form as draft if you need to come back to it to do or add additional authorized signer or modify any data, or you have the ability to save and submit the form to the submission center. So today we'll go ahead and click on Save for Submission. And you can see you get a successful confirmation that the form has been saved for submission. So we'll next navigate over to Submission Center. And now you can see the form that we just created and submitted is now sitting on the Submission Center. So for us to do the submission, we'll first check the form. And below you see there's a Submit button. We'll go ahead and click on Submit. You'll get your legal pop-up information. You will review, and if you accept, you'll check the box and click on Submit Form. Once you do that, you will then enter your RSA Secure ID passcode and click OK to submit the form. Once you enter, you click OK. And you can see we have a confirmation pop-up page that says that the form was successfully submitted. Go ahead and click Close, and the form should disappear from Submission Center. How to request commitment. After you log into My Ginnie Mae, you'll land on my dashboard. Once you land on your dashboard, you will then navigate to Tools dropdown. Click on the Tools dropdown. Under IPMS, you will see there's a CM link, short for Commitment Management. You'll then go ahead and click on it. Once you do, it'll take you to the Commitment Management Summary page. Here you have the ability to filter based on different statuses of your request. We have approved, canceled, Ginnie Mae declined, not available, pending, or rejected. And once you click display, system will filter based on your request. Below that, we have the issuer number, as well as any previously requested commitment amount and their statuses. For today's demo, we will request a commitment amount by either clicking on the request commitment link next to the summary or by clicking on request commitment button below. But to do that, we'll first click on the checkbox next to the issuer number. And now you see the request commitment button is blue. So you can go ahead and click on this button right now. Once you do, it'll take you to the page where you will enter your commitment amount. But before that, you could see the system already populated your issuer number and your issuer name. You will then have to select your program type. Next, we'll enter the commitment amount that you will be requesting. Just note, minimum is 1.5 million. Once you enter your commitment requested amount, system will generate a commitment fee. So here you could see your commitment fee is $700 based on your $2 million request. You will then enter your payment information by entering the ACH routing number. Then you'll enter your account number and re-enter the account number. Once you do that, you will go ahead and review the terms and conditions. And once you agree, you will check off the box and accept. And next, you will submit your request by clicking on the Submit Request button. Once you do, you'll get a confirmation pop-up with your requested amount and the fee for that amount. If you agree, you will then go ahead and click OK. Once you do that, you will then enter your RSA Secure ID passcode. And go ahead and click OK. Now that the submission was successful, you will get a summary page where the system will state that your request for the commitment in the amount of $2 million has been successfully submitted to Ginnie Mae for approval. And what we'll do next is go back to the summary page, and we will see that the requested amount that we have just entered into the system is listed below. And here you have the ability to cancel the pending request. And you land on your dashboard. How to request pool number. Once you log into My Ginnie Mae and you land on your dashboard, you will navigate over to the Tools dropdown on the top right of the screen. Once you click on Tools dropdown, you will see under IPMS, we have RPN, short for Request Pool Number. You'll go ahead and click on this link, and it'll navigate you to the RPN application. Now that we're on the summary page for the request pool number page, here you have the ability to filter based on the date as well as the statuses. You could either do all, pending, rejected, or approved. Below, we have your issuer number, and we're able to expand and view any previously requested pool numbers below. Here, those that are approved, you also have the ability to generate a Excel sheet, which will give you the list of the approved pool numbers. So we'll go ahead and click on the Excel sheet link, generate the report, and go ahead and open it. And you could see your pool ID with all the available pool numbers. Next, to request a pool number, or if you want to request any additional pool number, you have the request pool number link next to the summary. And you have the ability to click on request pool numbers button below. So you'll go ahead and check the radio button and click on request pool number. Here, depending on the amount of pool numbers you have for your organization, you might need to get your account executive override and their approval. If that is the case, you will first enter your pool numbers and enter your justification. Once you have entered your justification, you will go ahead and click Request AE Override. Once you click Request Override, it'll take you to the summary page where it'll state your request is in progress. And if you need any clarifications or questions you might have, you can contact your account executive for further instructions. We'll then click on Back to Summary page. And when you enter or expand below, you will now see that the new requested pool number, the amount, the date it was requested, and the request status below.
Okay, thank you. And if any new you're joining for the first time, especially seeing the application for master agreement, commitment management, and request pool numbers. I hope this was helpful to you. And of course, more information you can either use a user manual or check out the QRC. Just a couple of things before we move on. In reference to submitting 11702, just want to let you know when you go in for the first time, that form is the first form you need to submit, the HUD 11702. That form has to be submitted with the names, has to be approved by us at BNY Mellon. Once you get the approval, then you can go in and add the other authorized signer to the form. So the 11702 must be approved first, must be the first form you add, must be approved first, upload it, submit it. Once it's submitted, we're going to review it at BNY Mellon, approve it, and once it's approved, then you can go in and add all the other forms. And also, I noticed through the video, not every one of the application when you're requesting the data actually need the RSA token. I got that the MAMS and CM need the RSA token process, but the RPN, there's no RSA token there. So just something to keep in mind. And also per Ginnie, they have not told us that we can do it or told the issuers that we no longer need this. The 11702 form, 11709 and 11720 forms are still mailed into us. Those forms are not total paperless yet. So once those forms are completed, you're going to need to print them, get them signed, and send them into BNY Mellon, the Oriskany office in upstate New York. They're the one who handles the master agreement document. So 11702, 11709, and 11720 forms are still sent in with the original signature until Ginnie may say, as of now, no more. Everything is now electronic. So we still have to submit those forms. Anything on that from the account executive on the master agreements, the commitment authority, the request pool numbers?
Hi, Wade. Good morning. Still morning. Good morning, everyone. Just two things. The first thing, and maybe Tawheed said it, but when you do request pool numbers, please remember that pool numbers do not expire. Commitment authority expires after 24 months, but pool numbers do not. So you can get as many as you want. It can last as long as you need to. You don't have to worry about it expiring. The next thing I just wanted to highlight is regarding commitment authority request and the commitment authority amount. Based on the formula that Ginnie Mae has for the payment for the commitment authority fee, it starts with $1.5 million, and then I think it's like $100 or something for each additional. I don't know the formula, but anyway, it behooves all issuers, and dare I say, I do not want to see any multifamily commitment authority request that does not end in 500,000. If you send it, back in the day before we were all electronic, we used to literally update it for issuers. So there should never be a commitment authority request that is simply 100 million. It should be 100,500,000. And that's because you're paying the same price for 100 million or 100,500,000. So all commitment authority does not, this is just a nuance here. But all commitment authority requests, really for single family or multifamily, but definitely for multifamily, should always end in 500,000. And thank you, my colleagues in multifamily, so that I can speak correctly It is $500 for the first 1.5 million and $250 for each additional million. So the base is always 1.5 million. Are there any questions? I don't see any questions in the chat. If you don't want to put it out for everyone, you could, do like everyone else does. DM me, do a private message, or whatever. But do we have any questions about prerequisites for pooling or anything else? You have a captive audience. That's it, Wade. Thank you so much.
Is there a minimum pooling fee?
So
John,
yeah,
freeze.
Yeah, John. So it is that it would be that first $500 because the minimum that you can receive is 1.5 million in commitment authority, and that corresponding fee is $500. Any
Okay,
additional?
just for me to
Uh-huh.
go, Michelle.
No, I just said any additional questions. That's all I was asking. Yeah. And again, this is shared by single family, multifamily, the Heckams Group, the manufactured housing, the everyone. That is a Ginnie Mae rule.
And I just want to add on to that, Michelle, just in case, especially for commitment authority, is make sure you have the amount. If you're issuing a pool for $5 million, make sure you have that commitment amount. You don't want to, when that pool comes into us, it comes in as a insufficient fund. And we have to get in touch with the AE to get in touch with you to do the wiring of the money so you can issue that pool. So check your balances on a daily basis. So when you're getting ready to do your pool, you do that due diligence of checking your balances so you have the good amount to issue that pool so it doesn't come across on our end and as an insufficient fund the next morning. We would have to reach out to the AE and they would kind of reach out to you. And that just insufficient fund process there could delay your pool in issuance because remember you set up these dates sometime with your investors and they're looking for the pool at a certain time. And if because of insufficient funds, you can't make that date, that there could be penalty on your end. So that's another check. You just want to have another list and to check that off in the morning. Check your balances before you start issuing your pool so you do have enough commitment to cover your issuance of the pool. So either the draws, the sale, the PN, whichever one, make sure you have enough money there.
Wade, it's me again. You just triggered something that we needed to give emphasis to. I'm piggybacking on what you just said. So
Sure.
Just to let you know, FYI, I'm not sure everyone knows this, but a couple of things. The first thing is not only will it slow up if you have insufficient commitment authority fee, it's a fire drill here at Ginnie Mae between Ginnie Mae and BOY Mellon. And also this will affect your IOPP because insufficient commitment is on everyone's IOPP. So that's one way. I believe, and I am going to ask Ginnie to help me out, Ginnie and Patrick, that if you fail or you don't have enough commitment authority fee when we draft it, we're going to come and ask you for what do you call a wire. We don't redraft. Isn't that correct, Ginnie? We ask for a wire. Yes, we need a wire that day, by immediately. So and it's literally like by before close of business, not even by close of business. So if you have insufficient, and I want to stop here and make sure I'm being clear. So first of all, each issuer and Ginnie Mae actually, every day we receive an e-notification of your commitment line balance. So if you do not have enough commitment authority, then that pool is failing. Right. So that's another issue. But if you have a commitment authority request and we go in in normal course of business, we ACH your account. That's how commitment management is set up. But if there's a block on the system, a firewall, or just plain outright insufficient funds, then that's a fire to Ginnie Mae. We will be all over you. And so we will not just simply re-ACH. We will request that the issuer send us a wire that day, immediately before the end of the business day. So not by the business day, but before the end of the business day. So, and I misspoke when I said, if you fail to have enough money for commitment, that's not on your IOPP. But if you have insufficient commitment authority, that is on your IOPP. So that is something you have to watch for. Another tidbit that I think people don't know, and we've said it, but we don't really say it really clearly, is that for commitment authority, our cutoff, our daily cutoff is 4 p.m. Eastern time. Whatever time we're on, daylight savings, Eastern Standard, Eastern time. 4 p.m. Eastern time is our cutoff for commitment authority. That's when we draw down all commitment authority within the last 24 hours, basically. So if you have submitted your commitment authority by 4 p.m. on any given day, I would say except for Friday, but if you submit it by 4 p.m. on Tuesday, we will receive it and we can begin processing it on Wednesday. And as long as it's a clean commitment authority, nothing is going on or everything is in compliance, you will have your commitment authority request processed probably that next day or definitely by Thursday morning. However, what comes into play sometimes is people will submit commitment authority like 4:30, right after the cutoff. So we don't get that until the next day. There'll be a whole 24 hours almost before we truthfully, if you submit it at 4:30 on a Monday, it comes through the system, we'll have it Tuesday morning, but mid-morning, midday, and then we can work on it, and hopefully everything is good. So maybe by Thursday, I skipped the date, Wednesday, you will have it. So just that's the magic time. The 2 p.m. cutoff for security, but there's a 4 p.m. cutoff for commitment authority. And I will stop there because I said a lot, and I don't want to confuse people, but do you have any questions? I'm just looking at the chat waiting for questions. Okay.
And I can say, don't send it on a Friday because Michelle and the team will not be there.
We leave by 3:30, so we're not even there if you send it at 3:30. And if it's Monday off, yeah, you're hurting people. No, I'm just kidding. So try to do it, and just let us know. And if it's something where you're like, oh goodness, Michelle, we only have 25 million, but I need to submit 50 million in pools in the next 2-3 days, just send us an email. Just give us a little tickler and let us know, and we'll get right on it. Not that we wouldn't anyway, but we'll get right on it. All right. I'm sorry, Wade. I think this is it.
No need to be sorry, Michelle. That's why the experts are there, so you can give out all the necessary information, little tidbits that will help people in their shop to do the processing, because I think those are good information everybody can use, especially on the commitment authority piece. Make sure you have the amount of commitment available before you issue a pool, because that could be some pit stops there that could affect you in terms of making your delivery. So those are very good tips and much appreciated.
Yes. Okay. Thanks everyone.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle. Ginnie Mae website information. What we just want to stress is, Ginnie Mae they're going to be sending that very soon to us to go through the calendar for 2024. So we just want to make sure the group, you're aware that there's a pool date calendar out there, and it's on the issuer tools, a pool date calendar. And we encourage you to use that when you're actually doing your pools It's just to kind of get an idea when certain things are ready, especially you have your RFS dates. Get to know those dates. When is the last submission of pool? You can submission for pool. I don't know if on this calendar there's a 6 day rule if you're doing the type 5 that pools must be submitted 6 days before the end of the month. Not too sure if that one is on the calendar. But those are some of the dates you wanna your daily processing with Ginnie and your monthly processing. Get used to the calendar and kind of know those dates that will help you in getting your tasks done in a timely manner. So I just want to show you that if you have not visited the calendar before, it's out there on the Ginnie website and it can be found under issue tools. And on the issue tools, you have the area that says pool date calendar. And of course, there's information IOPP if you also want to read up on that. So utilize the website, the Ginnie website, utilize the Ginnie handbook or the Ginnie guide, MBS guide. That's the Bible. So if you're not familiar with certain things, read upon it. And if you're still not familiar, then that's when you want to engage your account executive in terms of policy issues and policy questions. They can guide you there, but know the program that you're going into, read up what needs to be done, how to get to point A to from point A to point Z in processing. And of course, if you're running any issues with the policy piece, you can always reach out to your account executive team. If it's an application, then you can always get in touch with the BNY Mellon side, and you can send your request through Ask Ginnie, and then you can deal with it that way. So just want to pass the calendar over to you. Now, are there any more questions? Anything that we said this morning that you weren't clear on? Anything you want to talk about? Now you have the time. Michelle, if you have any other tidbits, anything else you want to say, don't hesitate to use this time to do that.
Okay, yes, thank you. So just back on the pool dates calendar. Yeah, we've had this calendar, for years. But I think a lot of issuers were just not aware of it. But I use this calendar. When you're asking me, what's the last date I can do a type 5, I'm going to the calendar. Please remember, we have weekends. We're going into there's a federal holiday every month for the next 6 months or so now. And so just remember, we have the federal holidays in there, but we do work the day after Thanksgiving, but most people don't. So most people don't settle pools on that date. And yeah, so please consult the pool dates calendar. It does have the 6-day type 5 date on there, and every every calendar, every month on the calendar, it's updated for the year. So like Wade said, they're working on the 2024 calendar now. So it's not just for reporting that's on there, but for pooling dates are on there also, I guess is what I really wanted to say.
Yes.
And also, look at the guide, look at the also APMs, which are the all participants memorandum. So they're like our policy letters. Please look at those because those are part of the guide. They supplement the guide. And if you have any questions, please let us know. With the multifamily side, there are a lot of things that maybe are not in the guide because we do work off of a lot of best business practices. A lot of things are open-ended in the multifamily side. I don't know if you have any additional questions. We do have the multifamily database, and we do also have the multifamily disclosure databases. So I'm not sure if we're going to show that or not, but those are probably the most well-used spots on our Ginnie website for multifamily issuers. We use them also just like you do.
I will incorporate that next time in our training, Michelle.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
I can do that.
Yeah, the two disclosure databases. Yes.
Yeah. Any other questions, concerns for the attendees? Just for me, I just wanted to, so since we're doing the prerequisite, make sure you do your master agreements. That's very important. Make sure you have your pool numbers. Don't make up pool numbers now, because you'll get a call from us saying this pool number does not belong. You just can't make up a pool number and say, I'm going to use this number. And make sure you have commitment authority. Make sure you're, as I said, another thing, October 1st, your MAM's renewal start. Make sure you're on that as quickly as possible. You don't want to wait until December 31 to do your renewal. So get on that. And I hope this prerequisite session was able to help you a little bit. So we can now plan to enter a pool in our next session. That's from Wednesday. We're going to do more on the multifamily pool delivery system, MFPDM, and then we can go into that a little bit more in terms of pool processing. So from my end, I know I'm going to send it back to CX group because they usually be at the end. There usually be a poll. So thank you, everybody, and Ryan and team. It's over to you.